Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Amy uses Mardu Siegebreaker to exile Zurgo Thunder's Decree, and then attacks with Mardu Siegebreaker. Does she get mobilize tokens? At end of turn, does she have to sacrifice them? What about Zurgo? Okay, so first the bad news. Putting Zurgo into play attacking does not count as attacking with Zurgo, which means its mobilize ability does not trigger. In order to get mobilized tokens, you would have to wait until your next combat and declare Zurgo as an attacking creature. The good news is that this is at least possible. Zurgo's ability that makes it so you cannot sacrifice warriors during your end step applies to all warrior tokens you control, including Zurgo. Unfortunately, Zurgo's legendary, so you can't get an ever-increasing horde of Zurgos from attacking with Mardu Siegebreaker every turn, but you can at least get an ever-increasing horde of warrior tokens from mobilizing with Zurgo every turn, which is of course how that would normally work, but I think it's still pretty cool. Now, for my money, the really interesting thing happens if Zurgo dies. If we look at how Mobilize is worded, we can see that when it resolves, it does two things. It creates some Mobilize tokens, and it sets up a triggered ability in the game that triggers at the beginning of the next end step to make you sacrifice those tokens. Did you catch that? It triggers at the beginning of the next end step. There's only one next end step. If the tokens somehow survive that, they're free and clear. Now, if we take a closer look at Mardu Siegebreaker, we can see that it does not include the word next on the card. Normally that would mean that the ability would trigger during each of your end steps. But in this case, what it means is that the editors of Magic made a mistake. If you look up the Oracle text of Mardu Siegebreaker, it actually does say to sacrifice those tokens at the beginning of your next end step, just like how Mobilize works. There actually are cards that have you sacrifice the token at the beginning of the end step, but usually they don't say your end step, which is a shame because Zurgo only gives sacrifice immunity to warriors during your turn. If you're interested in why there are two very similar versions of this template, check out my video on how Blitz interacts with phasing. So let's put all of that together and work through an example problem to help solidify everyone's understanding of the concepts that we've covered so far. Amy uses an electro-duplicate targeting a Zurgo and keeps the token with the legend rule for some reason. She then attacks with Zurgo and puts two mobilized tokens in. At the beginning of her end step, the mobilized ability and the Zurgo ability both try to make Amy sacrifice some warrior tokens, but because it's Amy's end step, those tokens have "this can't be sacrificed," so Amy gets to keep all three. During Nick's end step, the ability from Electro Duplicate triggers again. Because it is not Amy's turn anymore, there's nothing to stop Amy from having to sacrifice Zurgo. The mobilized tokens that Amy made last turn survived past the next end step, so that means that they get to stick around indefinitely. I could probably drag this out even more because there's a ton of permutations for this sort of thing, but I'll hold off for now and let the good people of the comments section continue things on with the examples that appeal the most to them. The fundamentals discussed here should be a good starting point for answering those questions. That's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling. Until then, I hope you have a great day.